Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the audio hosted by me. I'm Hannah Wellness, and this is, oh gosh, I lose count, episode 5, maybe. I'm a little late to the game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not upload a video for the visual this week because I've been saying I'm going to get it together on this whole taking videos thing, and I just haven't. So, no visual because there's no visual to give. And then I was like, well, how am I supposed to film a podcast if there's no recap? So I was like, maybe I'll just skip a week, but then do I just skip right to episode 6? How does this work? And after taking some consideration and some ideas from some family and friends, the solution was to still post an episode this week, but to have it kind of be a mini-sode of its own thing. So I decided that this week, the mini-sode is going to be a Q&A. And by mini-sode, I don't know how long it's going to take. It might just be the same podcast length, but we're just going to go on the fly. First of all, my beautiful posters. I hung up my third one over here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it fell down like 2 months ago and I just hung it back up. So if that's not adulting, I don't know what is. Also, I have my Dr. Pepper today. If you know me, you know that I'm a big Dr. Pepper fan, and Dr. Pepper is not something that I should drink for the rest of my life. So I'm currently working through finding some other things that could work for me. If you have any suggestions, I would love them. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's carbonated. I know most people are carbonation haters. I love carbonation. Love it so much. But soda water or like LaCroix or things just don't replace Dr. Pepper for me. So it needs to almost be an Olipop or something like that, if you guys have any suggestions in that realm. And it can't be fruity. I do like fruity carbonated drinks, but they're not good enough to replace Dr. Pepper. So they're their own category for me. Needs to almost be like a good, healthy soda. So let me know if you have something on that. Anyways, let's hop right into it. Our Q&A for the day. I'm a rhymer. Anyways, okay. I asked my Instagram followers if they had any questions for me, and I had a solid 4 people pull through. But luckily, they asked quite a few questions. So if you're one of those 4 people, very, very grateful for you. First one, I'm guessing you guys could guess who this question's from, says, what do you love most about your mom? I'll give you a second to think about who might have asked that. If you guessed my mom, you would be correct. Hi, Mom. I love you so much. I love my mom for so many reasons. But if we're really going to get deep here, which we are because she deserves all the credit in the world, my most loved thing about my mom is the way that she carries herself. My mom has taught me how to be a strong, independent woman who stands up for myself in a respectful, good-hearted way. I think that's a hard balance, especially as a woman, to stand up for yourself and to face conflict, but to still do it in a way where people think you're nice and you're respectful and cool and whatnot. I think that's a hard line to follow as a female, but my mom has definitely taught me to stand up for myself, but find a way to do it where I'm not disrespecting anyone, I'm respecting feelings, and finding a way to have healthy conflict throughout my life. And it's one of the things I'm definitely most thankful to have learned from her. Let me think about an example. Oh, an example. I, over the summer, had a job at a gym and hated it. It was the worst job of all time. And I came home one day and it was a long day at work, and I had called out my boss because he had said something disrespectful to me. And even though he's my boss and he's my superior and he's 20 years older than me, I looked him in the eye and I said, please do not speak to me that way. That is not okay. And he was taken back, and he didn't think that this young female would tell him, I know you're my superior, but you cannot talk to me that way. So I got home and I told my parents about it at the kitchen table at dinner that night. And my mom just laughed because she was like, the same thing happened to me at work today. Her superiors at whatever job she was doing that day were mean to her over text, and she walked right into that office, and they ended up apologizing to her, but she told them, she was like, I thought I was going to have to quit my job today because that was not acceptable. And if that's any indication of who my mom is and how much she'll stand up for herself, that's that. And I love that about her. So thanks for the question, Mom. My next question, you could also maybe guess who this came from, is why is pro play so special to you? Take a second to think about who might have asked this. If you guessed my boss at pro play, you would be correct. And we've done a whole podcast on why I love pro play and why it's the best job I've ever had. But pro play is so special to me because of the culture. And I've talked about this. I love my coworkers. I love my bosses that comment on my Instagram posts. I love the girls that I get to coach. It is a job unlike my job at the gym where I can bring up conflicts, I can ask questions, I can learn, I can get better every day. I can have bad days, I can have good days, and every day I leave feeling like we're back. Microphone died. I realized about halfway through another question that it wasn't working anymore. And there was zero audio, not even like microphone's dead, just coming through the speakers. It just stopped the audio altogether. So we're back. Sorry we got cut off. Happy to be with you guys again. Okay, let's get straight into it. Question number 3 was the biggest thing I've learned in 2024, and trying to remember what I said before I had to charge this stupid microphone. Pretty much my biggest lesson of 2024 was just the phase of being in a committed relationship. I've been in committed relationships before, but nothing like the relationship I'm in now that is like long-term, serious, looking towards life together. And when you enter a committed relationship, there's so much you have to learn about one another and ways you have to, I don't want to say change yourself, but kind of adjust the way you think. You're no longer responsible and in charge of just you individually. You're in a partnership where you're trying to support not only yourself, but the other person. You're trying to receive support from that person. You're trying to grow together, be the best for one another. And there's so much you just have to learn by entering into a relationship with someone. And I think that would definitely be something I'm still learning, but it's been an awesome year and a half of learning all of that. So let me jump right up to another question about my relationship. And I am planning in the next couple weeks to do a podcast all about my relationship and how I've gotten to where I am with Sam and how lovely he is. But the other question I got was how I deal with long distance. And to be 100% blatant, it sucks. Like, it blows. No one in a long distance relationship is going to be like, it's awesome. I love long distance. It's great for me. No, it sucks. You wish you were with your boyfriend every single dang day. And you wish you could have a normal relationship where you just go out to dinner or they stay over at your house or you get to do homework and study dates together. But no, you wait every 6 to 8 weeks to see one another and it blows. But I think the way, if anyone ever asks me for relationship advice about long distance, the only thing I could say is that trust is number one. Like, you either just have to have an inherit, whatever that word is. I don't know. Sam, correct me. You have to have some sort of just like built-in trust system that you don't have to like challenge with one another, and you just have to be worth trusting and then trust the other person. Like, for example, a couple weeks ago, it was my gal Bailey's birthday, and we all decided to hit the town and have a fun night with some other friends of ours. And there were guys within that group. It's a late night. Sam's on the East Coast. He is long gone asleep. It's 3 hours ahead over there. He's not texting me. He's not concerned about me. He liked the picture of my outfit and told me I looked adorable. And then he was like, good night. I love you. Have so much fun. And there was no, the next morning, like, what did you do? Who did you talk to? Concern about my evening. He just wanted to hear how much fun I had. And he just trusted that I was handling myself appropriately. And I was. And it's something where, yes, I appreciate Sam's trust in me, but it's also on you to hold yourself accountable to be worth gaining that trust from that person. And the same goes for Sam. I know that he's not doing anything ridiculous out there, and I'm trusting that. And it's also like a blind trust sometimes of like, you might flame me, you might screw me, but I'm going to give everything I have into this relationship and trusting you and who you are. And if I find out you screwed me, you're the problem, not me. And I think that's something everyone has some value to learn of. Don't hold yourself back in a relationship over the risk of someone hurting you. If they hurt you or they screw up, that's their fault. It's not your fault for being hurt by them. You're not the problem. You gave it everything you had and they didn't. And I don't want to say that that's my relationship because it's not. I love my relationship and I love Sam and I love where we're at. But I just want to throw that out to anyone who might be struggling with that concept. Lighter hearted question. What's my favorite ice cream? I go through ice cream flavors like I go through cereal choices. It's always changing for me. I think a steady two in my life are coffee, which might be a hot take. I feel like people think it's an old person ice cream. I love coffee ice cream. I grew up eating it at my grandma's and I am obsessed with it. I'm not even a huge coffee drinker in general. I'm a chai tea girl, but coffee, it's just coffee ice cream. It just does it for me. I also am another controversial ice cream lover, mint chocolate. It is delish all of the time. I love chocolatey things, so I appreciate that there's chocolate involved, but it doesn't feel like rich and overwhelming. And it's refreshing and delicious. So get on the game. It doesn't taste like toothpaste. I don't know who's lying to try and hold up this front that mint chocolate ice cream sucks. It doesn't suck. It's so good. Okay, let's not lie about that. Next question I got is hobbies I have outside of coaching and playing. Honestly, not very many because it takes up so much dang time, but it's something I'm definitely trying to explore or get into or be better at is having hobbies because coaching and volleyball will end for me within the next 6 months. And I gotta have something to fall back on and something to do. So, obviously, the number one answer that you guys see in the visual and I talk about every week is my friends. Like, I am a social being. I definitely love my alone time and I need my alone time, but I love my friends and I love spending time with them and my family when I get to see them. And if I have a time block in my schedule, I'm usually filling it with them because I want to see them and spend time with them. I also am a nap taker every single day. Must have a nap. Must, must, must. Unless I sleep for like 12 hours, obviously. Then I don't need a nap. But most every day, a nap is scheduled in for me. I've been reading a lot, which I've been enjoying. I used to read a lot during COVID, and then college came and it just got super busy. So I stopped reading as much, but I'm getting back into it and I am loving it. I actually just read, I have it right here. Just read the new Hunger Games book. I finished it like 2 days ago and would recommend. It was so good. There were a couple moments in it where I was like, did not expect that to happen. So, if you're looking for a book, you liked the Hunger Games, this one's for you. I do now need to rewatch all of the movies because I'm like, what little teasers did it give in here? Like, what do they call them? Easter eggs? Yeah. What other Easter eggs did they throw in here? And now I want to watch the movies. But they took them all off of the streaming platforms and are making me pay for them since they're so popular right now. So it'll probably be a while before I see those. But yeah, reading, friends, sleeping. I love the beach. That's why I moved to California. I love spending my time at the beach. It is thebomb.com. And I took an art class last semester that I really enjoyed. So I'm trying to stay in that fashion of doing artistic things because I haven't been the most artistic person my whole life being an athlete. But I think art is so fun and I want to keep being artsy fartsy. Okay. Next question is the ways that I get out of a stressful situation. And honestly, I am the biggest proponent of positive self talk. Like, if I'm in a stressful volleyball situation and I'm back there, like, freaking the freak out, in my head, I am like, you can do this. You're awesome. You got this. Like, you are going to nail this pass, this swing, this hit, whatever it is. I tell myself, like, you can do this. You are going to do this. It's going to happen. I am capable, whatever that may be. And I tell myself that in most stressful situations. In most stressful situations, it's a reminder of like, I am capable and I will get through this and I'm awesome. But I also remind myself that every decision I make in my life, I am making through a good hearted choice. It's never meant to be hurtful or bashful or painful. Everything I'm doing is explicitly with a good heart. So I remind myself of that when things go wrong with work or things go wrong with this, reminding myself not to be so hard on myself because I thought it was a good hearted choice and I can't regret a good hearted choice. So hopefully that answers that question about getting through stressful situations. But yeah, I think first, I'm a big believer in just like taking a minute to breathe and not necessarily disassociate, but just like have a minute to collect yourself before like springing into action about it. I definitely, story time, I like messed up my shoulder 2 years ago, but then playing last season, I like tweaked it again. And I remember calling Sam and he was immediately like, spring into action. What are we going to do? Do you need to go to the doctor? Whatever. and I was just crying. And I was like, Sam, I need 30 minutes to just be sad and sit in this. And then 30 minutes from now, we can figure it out. So I think I do that a lot in stressful situations too, where I'm like, I just need time to decompress and then I'll come back and I'll problem solve. But like taking the time to feel the emotions and have the emotions and then springing into like, okay, fix it. How are we going to handle this? How are we going to make this better? So that was my Instagram questions, but Sam just sent me a question because we were just on the phone. And it says, what is one idea or value you want to instill in your children that may not be typical, mainstream, or obvious? Wow, Sam. Deep question to just throw on me when I'm mid pod. Okay. Let me think about this for a second. One of the ideas that immediately comes to mind is that I don't necessarily. What do I want to say right now? I love technology and I think technology is so valuable, hence the podcast. But I think it's very mainstream right now for your kids to have iPads and have a lot of screen time. And that's just something I don't want to instill in my children because it's something that I myself am trying to like limit in my own life because society has taken it too far to where our phones are attached to us all of the time. And I don't want that to be something that my kids are used to. So I definitely want to have a lot of toys in my house that limit technology usage. And I also think allowing kids to just have an imagination. Like all of our toys don't need to have very specific roles. You can throw out a bunch of blocks and a bunch of figurines and let kids' imaginations run wild, building towers and building whatever their mind runs to, allowing our kids to explore toys in their own ways and not necessarily the generic standard way. And then I would say that the last thing I've really thought about when it comes to having kids is just the kind of education I want them to have. And I actually don't have an answer to this, but just studying education, there's a lot of different educational philosophies and ways of teaching children. There's like 6 main ones. And I just don't know which one I want my kids to have. There's some that are like way up at the top that are like pretty aggressive, like straight lectures, not a ton of fun. And then some down here that are like field trips, kids study what they want to study, teacher takes a back seat and like allows them to explore whatever they want to explore. And I'm like, whoa, that seems a little crazy. So I'm definitely trying to balance all of that and figure out what is best for me and my family and me and my kids, and also just what's realistic because some of those teaching styles are really hard to find in schools. And I don't know exactly what my life is going to look like in the future in Colorado. So just figuring out how my kids will be best taught, well taught, or whatever all of that is. So yeah, I mean, that's all my questions. I'm trying to think if I have other answers to my questions. But no, I think that's all my questions for now. If you have, I just dropped the mic. It's okay though. Don't worry about it. If you have other questions, definitely message me on Instagram, leave them in the comments, whatever you want. Because again, the whole reason this podcast is here is to support people on whatever journey they're in and maybe be able to give a little advice or a little story about my life and how I handled something. And you guys can take that into your own lives. And that's the only reason that this is a public podcast instead of just like saving it to my notes, is because I want people to hopefully learn something or I can learn something from you guys. So if you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Thanks for tuning into this week's mini-sode, I guess it's called. And I will definitely see you guys for real on Sunday for an actual episode of the audio. Bye, guys.